So we've now arrived at the Channel Tunnel entrance in Kent, and will shortly be arriving in France. Well, just walking into Honfleur now from our digs, and it's quite a sunny day now. It's going to be sunny this afternoon as well. So I do like all the lovely flowers they plant randomly throughout the town. It's called the Côte Fleurie, which means the flowering coast. So across the way there we can see the famous Grand Bassin of Honfleur with the lovely old buildings, very tall buildings. This is what Paris must have looked like before Baron Haussmann got to grips with the old town and flattened it. It's just very charming. Reminds me of something like St Ives or Whitby in England, but on steroids. It's kind of 20 times bigger than either of those towns, and it's just full of lovely bistros, restaurants, cafes, all the usual French stuff. And on a sunny day like this at the weekend it gets absolutely busy with people. Honfleur is actually packed with lovely old houses and old buildings. As you can see over there, there's a typical Normandy half-timbered building, which is very charming. So these are just the sort of back streets leading to the main town now. Charming little cafes. Some more lovely half-timbered houses on the other side of the street. So Honfleur is a little bit like kind of Whitby on steroids. It's got nice weather generally, although there can be a few showers now and again. I think we're coming up to an old fisherman's church here. But it's about 20 times the size of Whitby, and it's got loads of nice bars and restaurants, being French. I do love the little old squares that you get in France and Italy and places like that. There's a lovely Gothic church here, and surrounded by charming little old houses. So this is the street for arts and crafts shops, obviously aimed at the Parisian set who often come here for a little break from Paris. You're only about an hour from Paris here in Honfleur. So we're in the Jardin de Tripot now, which is a very charming little garden in a corner of old Honfleur. So we've just emerged from the Jardins now, and every street in Honfleur is just so charming with these lovely old buildings. Good job, there are plenty of shady lanes in this town because the temperature has now hit 26 and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's early afternoon now on a Sunday, and the Grand Harbour is absolutely banging with people, enjoying themselves and walking in the midday sunshine. There are lots of nice little fishing boats and pleasure boats in the harbour. Absolutely charming place. And from just outside the harbour you can get nice boat trips to the Pont de Normandy and various other places. In fact, you can just see the Pont de Normandy sticking up in the background there, behind the flags on this ship. Beautiful houses just outside the harbour area. And we're heading towards the public gardens now. As you can see on the horizon, there's a massive cruise ship anchored just outside Honfleur. That's a nice view of the old town from just outside the harbour. Looks like there's a big wheel going on there in the distance. And here's one of the pleasure boats just leaving the harbour now. I think they're going towards the Pont du Normandy eventually. There he goes at quite a speed, sailing out of the harbour. Yes, this big cruise ship is just leaving the harbour of Honfleur now, going out of the Seine estuary and into the North Sea, or the English Channel basically. And here it comes up the Seine estuary, accompanied by a little tugboat. Make sure it doesn't crash into the beach. Well, it's 9 o'clock on Sunday evening now, and it's a lovely atmos in Normandy. Honfleur is absolutely banging, with lots of people enjoying themselves. So it's a very charming atmos. If only English seasides could be like this in the evening, but normally they close at 4:30. Whereas in France and on the continent, everything kicks off about 7 PM. Well, it's a lovely warm day in Normandy today, gang. The thermometers on the pharmacies are saying 29 degrees. And as you can see, the Grand Bassin is beautifully sunlit today under a powder blue sky. There's our favourite bar on the corner there. But we're spoilt for choice with restos and bistros here. So in this charming little square there are lots of art shops, and there's the old St. Catherine's Church there, which I think is made, the ceiling's made from two boats upturned. So it's early afternoon on Friday. The harbour is absolutely buzzing with tourists. It's very charming walking down the north end of the harbour where all the nice restaurants are. This very hot sunny day.
C'est un peu comme à Dieppe, hein.
There's always lots of charming activity on the estuary of the River Seine. Boats coming in from the sea. So the boat's just turning around now before we head out onto the water.
Les pilotes sont des professionnels de la zone estuaire de Seine. Alors les enfants, où se trouve l'honneur? Il y a encore 2 jours, un voilier anglais, une famille à bord ont percuté les cailloux. Il y a eu des dégâts des voies d'eau. Découvrir, messieurs, dames, le plus beau pont du monde, le pont de Normandie.
These views of the Pont de Normandy are absolutely stunning, and
Alors sa construction a commencé en
down the
88
river it
et
goes all
s'est
the way, of
achevée en
course, to Paris and the
95.
Eiffel Tower. So we've just arrived at the Saturday market near St Catherine's Church in Honfleur, and as we approach St Catherine's Church there are rather more stalls. Can't beat a traditional French market with all the different things, and unlike British markets, the French ones actually sell the stuff cheaper than what you buy in the shops. That's the whole point of it, really. Well, all in all, it's been a very charming holiday. If you enter France via the Channel Tunnel or the ferry, and I would recommend the ferry because the Channel Tunnel is a little bit lame. It's about a 4-hour drive to Honfleur from Calais, but you can enter the country from other places like Dieppe, for example, which is a lot nearer. Newhaven to Dieppe is one possible route, and various other ferry routes that will get you quite a bit nearer to Honfleur if you prefer not to do too much driving, but we find the driving absolutely fine down the French motorways. It's a bit of a delight, really. Just had a look in the Maison Satie, which is the birth house of the pianist-composer Eric Satie. It was quite interesting. It's a little bit surreal inside. There's not a lot of information about the man himself. It's more of a sort of display piece, really. But this road is very interesting. There's a real eclectic mix of buildings, including these Tudor half-timbered ones here. Honfleur is absolutely full of buildings like this.